Connections, Part 3. I have lived long enough and been through enough. I've watched enough. I've experienced enough to recognize and to understand that there are several different kinds of people that will come into your life. I used to think it was all cliche-ish when my mother would say to me, everybody can't be your friend. I used to think that she was just trying to be difficult when she told me not to trust everybody. But I've come to discover, sisters and brothers, that mother was right in her wit and wisdom when she told me that everybody that's smiling in your face is not your friend. I've discovered that there are at least 3 different kinds of people that will come into our lives. On the first hand, there are acquaintances. Acquaintances, sisters and brothers, know you. They've studied you, they've watched you, they've spent some time with you, and so an acquaintance will know your habits. An acquaintance, sisters and brothers, will have an understanding of your personality. An acquaintance will know what you like and what you don't like. An acquaintance, sisters and brothers, will know where you stand on particular issues. They will know what it takes to get you angry, and they will know what it takes to bring joy into your lives. Many of us have acquaintances. But the problem with acquaintances is they may not be with you. Second group of people, sisters and brothers, are associates. Associates are like companions. Associates, sisters and brothers, come into your life and they are there with you for the fun and the good times. Associates will laugh with you and laugh at you. Associates will eat your food. Associates, sisters and brothers, will hang with you for the good times, for the good times, for the good times. The associates, sisters and brothers, come into our lives for the purpose of sharing in our resources. They come into our lives for the purpose, sisters and brothers, of taking what we have, and when the resources run out, then they go on about their business. The problem with associates is that they can be in our lives, but they may not be with you. But then there are others. There is a different crowd. This is the crowd that I like to describe as the divinely connected crowd. This crowd, the divinely connected crowd, they come into our lives not of their own volition, but they are there, sisters and brothers, because God put us together. Those who are of this crowd come into our lives, and they're not trying to use you, but they're trying to bless you. Those who come into our lives according to divine connection, they may not even understand, and you may not understand while they are there for that particular season. All we know is every time we look around, they are there where they need to be, doing what they need to be doing in order to keep us afloat, in order to keep us moving forward. Those who come into our lives according to the divine connections that God supplies for us, those people, sisters and brothers, are there because they are on assignment, and sometimes their assignment is only for a season. I think I'm on somebody's street now, because you're thinking about the ones that God sent into your lives for particular reasons and for particular moments, and while they were there, they maximized that time and that space in order to make you better. But when the time was over, when the assignment was done, they went on about their business. I bring the matter to your attention in that way because I want you to know that we should not be bitter when God tells people to move on out of our lives. I'm going to preach in a second. Those who are divinely connected, they are there with you through thick and thin. Those who are divinely connected, those who are on assignment from God in our lives, they are with you, whether there's a crowd on your side or whether you feel like you have to stand all alone. Now, I need to go on and say that the divinely connected are not always members of our familia or live in our homes with us. Sometimes, sisters and brothers, the divinely connected are strangers that become friends, and I dare say remain lifelong friends, even though I may not see you every day. The truth of the matter is that there are people who are in our immediate circles now who do not understand, and as a matter of fact, do not even care to understand. That's why God sends people into our lives to do his will, to accomplish according to his way, so that we are made better because of it. Come on and walk with me, sisters and brothers, because I just believe that there are some divine connections that are assigned to every one of our lives. You're trying to think about what happened in the past, but I came to tell you today that God has people assigned for your life even now to give you answers to those things that are causing perplexities in your consciousness. God has people assigned even now that you have not even met yet, that will tell you who to talk to and when to talk to them, so that you can get that thing done. God has people assigned to your life even today, sisters and brothers, that are going to come into your life, and make you see that whatever it is not that hard. Come on and walk with me. I think you will see what I'm talking about when we peer into what we call the books of the kings. The books of the kings, sisters and brothers, are the recordings of those who ascended to the thrones after the kingdom of God was split to northern and southern regions. It is in this time that while the royal regime was going on about its business, fighting one another, that God was still at work through the prophets. I think we ought to refer to the Old Testament theologian Walter Brueggemann when he suggests to us, even as we read about Elijah and Elisha, that it is really not all about what the text says as much as it is about what the text is meant to do. I think it'll bless somebody when we recognize that God does not record these stories of Elijah and Elisha in order for us to try to emulate them. No, but these stories are recorded to change some things in our thinking. First of all, when we look at Elijah, you ought to recognize that Elijah comes on the scene, and his fault is he just believes God in a world that does not believe God. Am I preaching to anybody? Elijah believes God in a world that does not believe God. Elijah was a prophet's prophet. Elijah with a J was a prince of preachers. Whatever God told him to say, Elijah stood up and said it, and it didn't matter to him who was with him or who was against him. Elijah was so big, bad, and bold that Elijah with a J, was called the troublemaker of Israel, because as much as the royal regime wanted to hoodwink the people, Elijah kept coming along telling the truth. Elijah with a J, sisters and brothers, came along and he believed God so much that God told him his voice could make the rain stop falling. Elijah believed it, spoke the word, and it did not rain for 3 years. Elijah was that man, sisters and brothers, that believed God so much that stood up against 450 prophets of Baal and believed God to the place that he thought, if I speak it, then fire will rain down from heaven and lick up water and cause the prophets of Baal to be shamed. Elijah, I tell you, was a prophet's prophets and a prince of preachers. But when we meet Elijah, what we find is that our particular text finds its foundation in the time in Elijah's life when he was whipped, worn out, had a meltdown, sat under a tree and told God, I've had enough of all of this. It was in this time that God took the prophet up to a cave in a mountain and began to speak to him in a still small voice. It was at this time that God let the prophet see, you're not the only one who's still serving me. I need to stick a pin right there and bless somebody and remind somebody that when you are tired and when you are frustrated, the devil will come in and make you think that you're the only one that's doing it right. You're the only one who has the right answer. But I beg you today, dear sister or brother, that you think about who the Lord is and what the Lord does and how he operates, and then you'll realize, Domain, that God really doesn't need you. Domain, you're not the only one who has the answer. Domain, you're not the only one that God speaks to. Domain, you're not the only one who can fix a situation. God said, I've saved for myself not one, not 10, not 100. I got 7,000, Elijah, that can do the very same thing. Oh, I wish you'd hear me in here. I got 7,000 that can do the very same thing that you can do. The prophet has thrown up his hands. Marvin Gaye would say, make me want to throw up both my hands and holler. That's where Elijah with a J finds himself.